Well, that's where you've got the different types of connections. Some of the stuff we've been talking about already is, you can either have that VPN connection. If you don't have that, if you're in perhaps you're in a shared office where they don't give you a static connection, so you can't have a VPN, then you have that potential to be able to sync up with a cloud account, for example. If you are exchanging data, then yes, you could have an FTP server that delivers files onto the storage system, and this could be any storage system. It doesn't have to be GB Labs, which means this can help everybody. But getting that data, there's lots of different ways of doing it. You don't have to be stuck with that one secure connection, because a lot of people don't have access to that. It can be difficult because really you have to have a static IP at one end. So if your office has one and you're anywhere in cafes or whatever, you can get a secure connection as long as one's got one end. A lot of service providers, a lot of broadband providers for a small charge will give you a static IP. So maybe it's something you want to turn on for a little while, and then it's a lot easier to create that tunnel. It also means that if you do that, some smaller production companies can actually lift their product out of their office and perhaps take it to one of the owner's houses, and he can be looking after storage and allow people to remote into his environment, so there's no traveling involved, which means his office becomes the main head office. So, there's a way of doing that. Well, that's a real challenge. All the services you may use, things like Dropbox, things like VPNs, they're all secured and they're all encrypted, so the traffic's encrypted, so it does protect it that way. However, on the really big budget productions, there's air gaps. Stuff is not allowed outside the building. Even inside the building, two networks don't cross, so that is going to prove very difficult and very challenging for a lot of production companies, which is why I suspect some of the bigger players have shut down production for a while, because they can't guarantee that air gap being in progress, and obviously all the people on set mixing and keeping distance from each other. So if you want to access the content, then you can go through that secure tunnel. You can use some of the stuff we've talked about in the other videos, which is the automation or perhaps syncing with the Dropbox account, which is great. It's on all our products. You can do that with everything. The fastness all the way up. But you also have administrators. So if administrators can leave remote access open on the system, they can remote into that workstation and control the admin panel and give access that way. But getting the content is the key thing, and that can be done in quite a few different ways. Yeah, so what we've had is actually one of our production companies, a major company in London, part of a big production group, has actually sent their editors home very early on in the process, which is a really amazing thing to be able to do and get them home. And they've remote connected into their storage, they're copying files, they're working and have been so for, I think, a couple of weeks now, which is fantastic, and they're using the space in Echo 36. And the nice thing about that is that it's all sat in London, so as they come out of this process and people are allowed back out or back into workforce, as it were, then their data's already sat there and they're ready to go. And in fact, they're still technically in full production. So one of the things we have is a great partner channel, and if you do want VPNs set up or you'd like to have some of this remote access done, reach out to them, reach out to us. We'll work together to make sure our end users, our clients and our customers can continue working as much as possible and be as effective as possible.